Good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this March 23rd version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon, and we're also on Roku.
Morning.
Morning, 23rd of 23.
First Friday.
Yep.
We're already almost done with March.
Yep, I know it.
It's going to be April.
And it's rainy this morning. It was such a beautiful day yesterday.
That was just a teaser.
Is it? Yeah. I mean,
it's supposed to dump snow tomorrow.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
It felt like spring.
Yeah.
I'm doing a drone flight every day over the day because they're putting the steel up of the hospital. Super cool, and it goes up really quick. I mean, the steel has all been pre-cut and pre-drilled.
It was like Lincoln logs.
It very much is like Lincoln logs, and so I mean, they within in the next 2 weeks, by the end of next week, the entire structure will be up.
Like the steel.
All the metal. Yeah, you'll be able to totally see the shape of the building and so on and so forth. Very cool. So anyhow,
cool.
It's going to be hard to fly today in the rain.
Yeah, it's probably going to be. We'll see what Gabe says, but I'm pretty sure tomorrow's supposed to be gnarly.
Yeah.
Let's rock some sports.
All right, here we go.
Not too much to talk about today that we didn't already talk about on Tuesday. LHS softball has games this weekend. The schedule says to be announced for who they're playing and what time. The baseball team is supposed to play Seaside tomorrow, LeGrand, here at 3:30. But like I said, that's all weather dependent. EOU softball's off this weekend. Speaking of EOU softball, I'll have EOU head coach Nicole Christian and EOU baseball, their new head coach Kyle Treadway, on my show tomorrow. And then I pushed back my two softball players, my seniors, to today. And they will be on the show today. And here's a little clip of what they had to say for today.
So last season was a pretty special season. We tied the all-time record at EOU for wins this season. Describe the feeling that you got when that announcer on the video on YouTube announced Eastern Oregon making it to the national tournament.
Well, I was nervous because as it was going through, like, our name was not getting announced, and then I started to get really sad, and I was like, oh no, like, this could be it. And then the final bracket showed up, and then our name popped up, and I started bawling. Like, I had so many emotions that day. It was crazy, but it was, I mean, excited.
I think that outside of sweeping OIT at home, I think that was my highlight of the season. Watching all you ladies, the reaction to making it to the national tournament for a team that worked really hard. I mean, you guys worked your butts off last year. What's the team goals for this year? What are you guys looking to do?
I mean, I think we obviously lost some, like you said, and we had a really successful season last year. But a big thing for us is Coach did an excellent job recruiting the new girls and people that kind of fill those slots or holes or whatever. And so I think the goal is just to get that CCC title and hopefully, do another national run and make it even further than we did last year.
So that's EOU senior softball players Carson Zaragoza and Caitlin Winans. And then on Monday or Tuesday, I haven't decided which one I'm going to put them out on. I'll have LHS head baseball coach Parker McKinley, and the only senior on the LHS softball team that hasn't been on my show yet. This is the last one. Eva Hedden. She'll do her interview, and that's the last female senior for the softball team. And I think I have 2 track girls, and then I have every senior and girl in the senior class on my show this year.
That's in sports, right? Yeah.
That's in sports.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is. Yeah.
And then I got to work through a couple baseball players and a couple track guys for boys, and I have all the boys too.
Yeah.
But crazy. It's gotten a lot smaller. You know what I mean?
Right.
It started with volleyball and football with a bunch.
Right.
And then because there's a lot of, multi-sport athletes.
Right.
So then it kind of dwindled down. And now we have just a couple left in each sport. So, yeah.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
That was one of my goals for this year, was to get every LHS senior athlete on my show. And
Yeah.
I'm almost there. Yeah.
That's cool. And that's that's a lot of appointments, a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, how many is that, do you think? How many?
I would imagine roughly 50.
That's what I was going to say.
50 in each. Yeah, 50 each.
Yeah.
50 boys, 50 girls. I
Wow.
mean, because I did 22, but probably like 60 total. So 30 of each.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably more like it. Because I remember 22 football players alone.
Yeah.
Just 22 senior football players. That's crazy. That's a lot of dudes. Yeah. So.
Well, and that's a lot of,
Yeah. And
people don't know. It's like, I mean, the interviews, we do the interviews here in another room, but still it's like getting them in, getting them seated, getting that whole, I mean, there's just it's a ton.
And every one of those interviews pretty much all took place within business hours, like, which is crazy with my schedule, their schedule, you know what I mean? So, I mean, and I think I've only had, I've had one cancel, one say I can't make it and had to reschedule, and 2 no-shows, and that's it. And I ended up getting them on. Obviously, they forgot, but that's not bad numbers for high school. Get only 2. It's pretty dang good.
Yep.
And big thanks to all the coaches, because they're the ones that kind of facilitated it. Most of the time, I just said, "Hey, I'm going to show up at your practice, and you're just going to send me your seniors at the end of practice."
Yeah.
But there was a few, like with Walt, with the softball team, he just gave her my phone number. Hey, call Dodzy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I was looking on Facebook today too. One of my friends, Mindy Lawler now, 14 years ago, my memory for today is she just wrote Dodzy, and then in parentheses she said, "I just wanted to say that." And she's the older sister of a dude that I played baseball with, and she rode with us on all the trips, and pretty cool. Good morning, Craig. Morning, TJ. Have a good day today. And the armchair quarterback, Bud Forrest, is in the building.
Boom.
Yep.
All righty. Well, let's look
at the weather.
See what that.
Oh, it looks so delightful out there. It's
drizzly. Can't even see the mountain. It's
terrible.
Funny. I woke up this morning and had an email. Glenna Schultz, I think, is the one. Thank you for watching our webcam all the time. And she sent me an email, and it had frozen overnight. It had frozen yesterday afternoon to this bright, sunny downtown shot, and she sent me a screenshot of it. It's like, I don't think the camera's working. She actually didn't, the email didn't say anything. It just had a screenshot. So anyhow, let's see what Gabe has for us here.
The European model shows an off and on mix of rain, snow, and graupel showers for your Thursday, but the best chance for that wintry precipitation would be into the morning and especially in the evening, but the lowest elevations of eastern Oregon will stick with just rain. Heading into today on Thursday for LeGrand, it looks like this will start into the upper 30s at the 8 o'clock hour with a steady mix of rain and snow, but nothing sticking, as we'll start those winds coming up from the south, but remaining light. But during the day, we'll see that moisture becomes scattered rain showers as we see increasing sunbreaks during the afternoon, rising those highs into the upper 40s. But that instability could create a little bit of graupel mixing in before those winds turn to the west and become gusty up to 40 miles per hour in spots right around the 8 o'clock hour. That's also when another round of steady moisture moves in, transitioning everything over to snow. And after that point, that's when we could start seeing those accumulations. Heading into the 7-day forecast sponsored by Valley Insurance, those early morning numbers for your Thursday into the 20s and 30s. Afternoon highs, 40s and 50s. I'm expecting a dusting to 3 inches of snow across our mountainous valleys, but most of that being after sunset, with 3 to 6 inches over the mountain pass, with 6 to 14 expected up above 5,000 feet. But Pendleton, Ontario won't be seeing any snow, although that may change into Friday and Saturday, when I'm expecting anywhere between a dusting to 6 inches of valley snow. The lowest end of that, though, would be out towards Pendleton in Ontario. That high end out towards John Day, with the rest of us seeing somewhere in between Friday afternoon looks interesting in particular as we increase that instability. It could be a mix of rain, snow, grapple, and even thunder. And if temperatures are cold enough in one given spot as we see a thunderstorm Friday afternoon, that could be some thunder snow. So keep an eye on that. Otherwise, lots of more dry time into Sunday and Monday. But overall, the best chance for some light snow accumulations would stay into those higher elevations. More organized showers move in Tuesday into Wednesday. So that's when we could start seeing maybe a little bit of more snow in some valleys. But overall, expecting more of that rain to be mixing in as those temperatures warm up once again.
All right, new
Looks
term.
like a whole bunch of crappy weather coming.
and we got a new term, Gabe, thunder snow. Which
Yeah.
I know what that is, but it's just yeah. So it's funny.
Crappy weather.
Crappy weather.
Some
Yeah, you're right. Yesterday was just a tease. So, all right. Well, this morning we have Harley Creech with us, and she's from Hickory, North Carolina. I mean, she's in Hickory, North Carolina right now. Is that right?
From here, isn't she?
Right, she's from here,
Yeah.
but she's away at school, and so she's gonna has recently had successes in weightlifting, and she's gonna talk to us about that. She's a hometown girl that has this doing some pretty cool stuff. She's going to be with us here remotely. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. How are you, Harley?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So tell us where you are this morning.
I am in Hickory, North Carolina. I go to school at Lenoir Ryan University, which is just a mile away from my house.
All right. And I don't tell me a little bit about the university you're going to and why you ended up going there.
Yeah, so it's a private university. It's about the size of EOU. I ended up here because it was one of the first universities to have a full weightlifting team, and my coach, Travis Mesh, he reached out to me in an email and wanted me to take a look at the school. And at that point, I had only been lifting for a couple of months, but I ended up visiting here and meeting Travis, and I really liked it, and so I decided to move here.
All righty. So tell us the story. You grew up in Cove, right? I'm trying to remember. Okay, so
Yes.
tell us how you got from Cove into weightlifting. I mean that's kind of an interesting story, and you've had some cool successes in that area.
Yeah, so I went to Cove school from first grade till my sophomore year, and then I transferred to LeGrand actually my sophomore year. Graduated from LeGrand High School, but I played softball my whole life since I was like 10 or 11, I played travel softball, and then played that all through high school. My junior year of high school, my season was canceled because of COVID. So I basically had nothing to do and I was quarantined at home. So I started weightlifting in my garage, and I just found an online program and kind of taught myself. And then once I started getting better at it, I decided I wanted to try to compete. So my mom helped me find a coach, and I found my first coach. His name is Mason Kobernick. He's out of a little bit outside of Portland, but he helped take me to my first meet. And there I set all new state records. And then about a month later, I competed at Oregon State Championships for weightlifting, and then won the Oregon State Championships, qualified for nationals, my first nationals. That was online because of COVID. So I competed online in my first nationals and placed 6th in the nation. And then that's when I sort of fell in love with it. I really loved competing. My first nationals was really fun. So then I kept competing and training through that year. And that's when I got in contact with my current coach, Travis. And then I went to my second nationals, which were in person in Detroit. And I didn't have my coach with me. I was by myself. It was my first sort of big meet. And I didn't have any teammates or coach or anything. So I asked Travis if he could coach me. And that was the first time I met him in person. So he coached me at that nationals, and I ended up winning gold in snatch, clean and jerk, and total. And then that's when I really decided that that's what I wanted to do in college. And so then Travis started doing my programming, and I moved here, and I've been on the weightlifting team at Lenoir-Rhyne. And I met my head coach now is Sean Rigsby. He's the director of the junior world team for Team USA, and he runs a gym in Charlotte, which is about 45 minutes away. So now I drive 2 days a week to him, and then I have my second coach here at Lenoir-Rhyne.
Wow. Very cool. So and I'm sorry, I'm totally ignorant about weightlifting. So kind of give me a little bit of an overview of, and then especially competitive women's weightlifting, which again is even farther from my experience. So kind of help educate me a little bit. What are the different sports, and what are the different parts of that? Disciplines.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I compete in Olympic weightlifting. There's 2 different types of weightlifting. Powerlifting is squat, bench, dead. And then Olympic weightlifting is called Olympic weightlifting because it's the one that's in the Olympics. But you compete in snatch and clean and jerk. So we do it by in weight classes, sort of similar to wrestling. So you compete in your weight class, and you get 3 attempts at each lift. So you get 3 attempts at snatch, 3 attempts at clean and jerk. Usually your first lift, which is called your opener, is normally a weight that you can hit pretty easily. And then once you make that, you can go up. And then if you make your second attempt, you go up to your third attempt. But say you miss your opener, you can choose to go up or stay there. So yeah, you basically get 3 attempts to get the best number that you can. And then you can also place in your total, which is snatch and clean and jerk combined.
Isn't clean and jerk just the another move off of the snatch, essentially?
No. So a clean is close
Above
grip.
the head?
You get it up to your shoulders, and then a jerk is above your head.
Yeah.
And then snatch is wide grip. It's one fluid movement from the floor to overhead. You catch it in overhead squat. So
Oh,
like
it's
this.
overhead. It's overhead.
Yeah.
Clean and
Yeah.
jerk,
Both
you
of them are.
go to like here first, right?
Mhm.
And then up.
Yep.
And snatch is just straight up.
Yep.
Okay, got it. I've seen them on TV and stuff. I just didn't know the difference between the two.
Yeah.
And so do you, when you're lifting and you have those attempts, is it scored on more than just succeeding it? Is it scored on style? There's it, you know what I mean? Is the goal just to complete the move or the lift, or is there some other judgments as you're doing that?
So there's a couple of rules that you have to you have to complete it in a certain way for it to count, but it's not judged on like how well you do it or your technique or style. It's just if you complete the lift or not.
It's just judged on how much weight is on the bar.
Yeah. And so then
there's certain things you have to do, like there's a no press out rule, so like you couldn't catch it and then like press it up.
Right.
You have to catch it in like one fluid movement. And then there's a lot of other rules like waiting for a down signal and just like realities. But other than that, you can basically complete it anyway.
Cool. So now what do you want to do? I mean, you said as when you were telling that story, you said that's the point where I fell in love with it. I mean, what kind of changed for you in there? What was like the tipping point for you?
I realized that I could be really competitive and could go a long ways. Once I won my first nationals, I really wanted to go to an international meet. That's kind of like everybody's goal in weightlifting, is to make an international team and get to compete for your country. So I started training more seriously and talking to my coach about what kind of international teams I could make. And he started talking about shooting for the Olympics. And I think that was a big motivator for me. Just like thinking about that being a possibility was really cool. So I started trying to make my first international team. And it's pretty complicated process, but my coach looked at basically what totals I need, and they take the top 10, but they only take 2 for each weight class. So I actually cut down another weight class so that I could be in a weight class that I could make a team in. And then I had to hit a certain total. And I went into this last competition, University National Championships in Columbus, Ohio. Went into that meet knowing what total I needed, and basically set up my attempts so that I would have a shot at making that total and making this team. And so I went to University Nationals. I made my second attempt snatch and clean and jerk, which got me a 203 total, and put me on the team for the Pan American Championships in May. I'm going to Colombia, and I'll be competing for Team USA for the first time.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it a lot? It's probably a lot like wrestling when it comes to weight, huh? You have to really be careful about what you're eating and how, because like obviously you have to keep enough bulk to put up enough weight, but you have to stay under a certain weight.
Yeah, it's very similar to weightlifting, or to wrestling.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of we did a test beforehand to see basically what weight my body would operate the best at, like recover the best, and if it was even plausible for me to cut down a weight class, because I cut from 87 kilos to 81 kilos, which is a 6 kilo difference.
Which is like 15
pounds,
pounds, 13 pounds.
Yeah. So it was a pretty big change. but we didn't. What it's called an in-body. We did that test to see like what body fat percentage and if I could lose that without losing a substantial amount of muscle.
Right.
Because you don't want to get weaker, obviously.
Right.
So we do a lot of testing to make sure like you're in your right weight class and whatever one fits you best. And I think I'm in that now.
Was that hard changing? Like, obviously, if you're competing at this level, your diet has changed quite a bit. What was the hardest part about that?
So when I decided to cut down a weight class, I got a nutrition coach.
Yep.
Her name's Taylor Harris, and she's actually my head coach's wife. So it works really well. But she manages my weight cut, and leading into competitions, she helps make sure I'm going to make weight. And like, if I need to cut any last minute, she helps with that. But so I got her starting in probably April last year. And we decided we had like 2 months to cut down. So she tracked all my food and gave me the right macros to follow and everything. And I did check-ins with her once a week. And then she's still my nutritionist now. So still follow what she gives me and she manages my weight. Now we're more in like maintenance.
Yeah. Once you get there, you just kind of go with I mean, I have a son that wrestles and I've been around wrestling a lot. So if it's anything like wrestling, it's like, okay, during the 4 days before or whatever, you're going to get probably about 3 pounds over, and then you're going to practice hard the day before, the day of, and it'll drop you right down to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Similar?
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. It's awesome. What's your so with the weightlifting, what's your ultimate goal? Like, what do you want to Olympics, obviously, I would hope.
Yeah, so my goal right now is 2028 Olympics. 2024 just isn't in the cards. Weightlifting, you have to start qualifying at the beginning of the quad. So like for 2024, you would have started qualifying in 2020. And I don't think I was lifting. I don't think I was weightlifting yet. So 2028 is a good timeline. 2024, I'll need to make basically my first senior world team. So right now I'm a junior, which is 18 to 21. I age out of juniors this year. And then seniors gets quite a bit more competitive. Obviously, because that's like the open category. So anybody above 21 is in that category. So starting 2024, I need to make my first senior world team. Hopefully before then, but that's like the last time that I can. And then I'll be on track to make 2028 as long as I just keep being competitive up until then.
How far? So if we looked at like your weight class right now, what are you? 70 something kilos?
81.
Okay, if we look at 81 kilos across the board, say we jump up to senior right now, how much weight are you away from, like, to make the Olympics right now? How much weight do you have to be able to clean and jerk and snatch, and where are you at? How far away are you?
It depends. It's really hard to tell because there's not really there's not a number that you need to hit to go to the Olympics. You would think that it is that simple, but it's like basically there's a certain percentage. It's called the NRS number, and you have to hit a certain percentage of that to make these teams, and then you earn a certain number of points for the teams that you make. And then those points and that NRS score together make your qualification.
Okay, here, let me restate it then to make it a little easier. You're lifting a certain amount of weight right now. What are the world-class athletes at your weight lifting right now? What's the difference?
So the senior in my weight class, for the US, she clean and jerks 140. I clean and jerk 115.
Oh yeah, so it's
So
not that far away.
yeah, so like 35 kilos.
Yeah.
I've cleaned 125 from the blocks. So I've hit some bigger numbers, just not from the floor. And then snatch, she snatches like 110, I think. And my best snatch is 90.
Yeah,
So
so
20 kilos.
you're not that far away then.
So
Like,
when
Yeah.
here, so to get there, is it training and is it building your muscle strength to get to that point, or is it technique or a little of both? What's the what has to change in your body in order to get to where you want to go?
It's definitely both. We train 5 days a week. So we train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, rest Thursdays, train Friday, Saturday, rest Sundays. Basically all year round. Because competitions are so spread out, you have to train basically all year round. But you have days where it's more technique based and it'll be higher reps and lower weights, and you're doing sort of like complexes with those Olympic lifts that focus on whatever technical change you're trying to make. We normally have like a specific technical change we're trying to make. Like right now, I'm moving my feet in on both my snatch and clean and jerk. So I have like exercises that are specific to changing that technique in my lifts, but also at the same time we're training squat and pulls to get stronger, and then we're also doing high reps of snatch and clean and jerk to get stronger at like 80%. I'm not going super heavy right now. I'm in sort of a volume cycle because I'm in between competitions. But leading into a competition, you start doing less squats and pulls and more snatch and clean and jerk at heavier weights. So the goal is to get stronger further out from competition, fix your technique further out from competition, and then as you get closer to competition, it's more just like repetitions at higher weights.
makes sense.
Well, cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And I know you have a pretty good fan base here. People are following you, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cody Bowen just chimed in. He says, "Miss you, kid. You're doing so awesome."
Oh yeah, Cody was my one of my softball coaches growing up, and I played softball with Kinsey for a long time. So, and I started in a CrossFit gym there, Eagle Cap CrossFit. My mom coached there and has been there, and my mom's best friends own the gym. So I started there, and a lot of them have like supported me through my whole weightlifting career, and they kind of saw me like from the beginning till now, which is cool.
Well, very cool. And you're raising funds right now.
Yeah, we have the link.
Yes.
To get and tell us a little bit that link is going in the comments. Tell us a little bit about what you're trying to do.
Yeah, so unfortunately Pan Am's it's self-funded. So I'm trying to raise money to cover expenses to go to Colombia. So I started that shirt fundraiser, and then there's also a place where you can just donate. We've had a ton of money raised already. It's crazy. But I'm just trying to cover expenses for the flight and hotel and food and transportation and everything while I'm there.
And when is that happening?
I leave May 7th and I'm getting back May 12th. So I'll compete somewhere in between there. They haven't released a schedule yet, but I'll be in Manizales, Colombia.
Cool.
Yeah. So you're navigating that and school, right? So
Yes.
yeah. And what's your area of study in school? What are you trying to do there?
I want to be a speech and language pathologist.
Okay.
It's a pretty small school, so they don't have my specific major. but I'm an instructional studies major right now, which is basically non-traditional classrooms. So it's kind of like an education major, and I'm working with an elementary school here, and that speech pathologist, and shadowing her and things, and also doing cool things for my career. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thanks for jumping in with us this morning.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
thank you for having me.
yeah, and I appreciate. Way to go! That's awesome. Way to
Thank
pick
you.
up something. Yeah. One question I had. One random question: how do they do online during COVID? How would they do online? I mean, how did they even facilitate that? Did they have a webcam pointed at you? I mean, how did that even work?
Yeah, it was pretty complicated. They had it's kind of like a live stream, and you had to zoom in.
I guess kind of like this a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and then you had to, like, weigh in on camera and calibrate your scale on camera, and then had to, like, show that all of your plates were the same, obviously, because they don't want you to, like, cheat.
Yeah.
And then you had to set the webcam basically up, so they could see. There was a certain, like, you had to make a certain area with, like, tape and make sure that the camera covered it all, and then you would wait for your turn, and, like, my mom usually would watch the camera and just tell me when it was my turn to lift. It was very strange, but they made it work, which was good.
Yeah. Which that, I mean, that was kind of the phrase that happened during COVID. Yeah, it worked. It was strange,
We figured it out.
but we got it to work.
Yeah, they figured it out. I don't wanna do it again, but
No,
Yeah.
hopefully not.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thanks so much for being with us here today. And again, Eastern Oregon, check out that link and help her get to her next stage. And well, good luck, and we'll be watching after you.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much.
Keep us posted on how things are going.
Yep.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Bye. All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So you want to guess out here?
Sure. It's a short one today. That not a lot happened on the 23rd of March.
All right.
On this day, 1939, March 23rd, 1939, the first recorded use of the word okay in Boston's Morning Post. And the word comes from "all correct."
Oh, correct.
All correct.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. 1903, on this day, the Wright brothers filed their first patent for a flying machine, which is granted 3 years later. It took 3 years for them to get the patent for a flying machine.
Wow.
1929, on this day, the first telephone's installed at the president's desk, and it was under the Hoover administration in the White House. And then 1977, on this day, Elvis Presley began his final concert tour. Elvis Presley, who died too young.
What year was that?
1977.
Wow.
The #1 movie in America in 2003 on this day is Bringing Down the House with Steve Martin and Queen Latifah. 2003, 20 years ago on this day. And the quote of the day: live your best and act your best and think your best each day, for there may be no tomorrow. I might have used that one before. It sounds familiar, but I like it. Live your best and act your best and think your best each day, for there may be no tomorrow. That's it.
All righty. Good stuff.
Have a good weekend, Eastern Oregon.
Thanks.
Enjoy this wonderful weather that's coming your way. Let me tell you, grapple and thunder, snow and showers and snow and thunder, snow and whatever else you want to, cats and dogs. And
yeah. And if you want to do something entertaining, go up by Central School and look at. It's pretty interesting to watch what they're doing up there with the crane and stuff up at the hospital. So, all right.
See you on Tuesday.
See you then.